بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Alhamdulillah, we have tawfiq to continue our study of fiqh based on Introduction to Fiqh by Ayatollah Mutahari. We said that the late Muhaqqiq Hilli, Sahib al-Shara'i, the one who has written al-Shara'i, Shara'i al-Islam, he has a way of classifying different sections of fiqh which is based on whether an action needs qasdul qurba or not. If it doesn't need qasdul qurba, then does it need recitation of siqa, a formula, or not? And if it needs recitation of formula, is it two parties or one party? So, if it needs qasdul qurba, it's ibadat. Yes? Like tahara, salat. Of course, tahara means wuzu and ghusl, not tahara from najasa. Tahara from najasa doesn't need qasdul qurba. But tahara, like wuzu and ghusl and tayammum, needs qasdul qurba. Salat, Sawm, Zakat, Hajj, Jihad, Amr Ma'ruf, Nahi Anil Munkar, I'tikaf, these are issues that we discussed. They all need Qasdul Qurba, Khums, Zakat, all need Qasdul Qurba. Therefore, we call them Ibadat. Then those that they don't need Qasdul Qurba, of course, if you have Qasdul Qurba, it's better, you can have reward. But their validity doesn't depend on qasdul qurba, are divided into those that need formula to be recited or not. Those which don't need, called ahkam, like hudud, qiyas, hudud, qisas, diyat. Those who need recitation of a formula of siqa, so you have to recite something, are either in need of two parties, we call it uqud, or one party, we call it iqa'at. Marriage is aqd, means two parties. Divorce is iqa, one party. Okay? So, we want, inshallah, to introduce those sections of fiqh which are about uqud. So means they don't need qasdul qurba, so they are not mu'amalat, they are not ibadat, and they need siqa to be recited by two parties. The first aqd is tijara. Kitabut tijara. Tijara, or in some books say kitabul bay'. Tijara means trade, but here means selling and buying. So you need someone to buy, you need someone to sell. Fuqaha have lots of discussions here. Shaykh Ansari rahmatullah alayhi, as you know, has a very important book on fiqh called Al-Makasib. And this makasib is studied in 3 years in Hawza. If you take one lesson every day for one academic year, you finish makasib muharrama if you don't waste any time. And then khiyarat. But it's very difficult to finish all the makasib in 3 years, so they may not be able to read all of it. Makasib Muharrama is about those things which are haram initially as a way of making profit, but some of them then are actions that may not be even about business. For example, one of the very good discussions about backbiting, ghiba, is in Makasib of Sheikh Ansari. Although no one, takes money for backbiting. But the discussion about different types of mu'amalat involves also certain actions like ghiba. So he talks about ghiba also, backbiting. So, what are the things that we can sell? What are the things that we cannot sell? What are the conditions that we have to observe? There are many things. When the buyer has right for cancellation, these are very important topics that they discuss in this kitab. There are also discussions about, for example, sometimes the purchase is in cash. You take something and you give the money right away. Sometimes you buy now, means you give money now, you take later. This is called salaf. For example, sometimes farmers, before they harvest, they sell. So they take the money, but they give the product after a few months. Sometimes it's opposite. You give the product, you take the money later. Yes? So either product and money are given at the same time. This is naqd. Sometimes, no, you sell, money comes later, it's a nesya. Sometimes product is not given, money is given, this is salaf. Means you buy in advance. Ayatollah Mutahhir says, but if both money and product come later and we just sell it now, it's void. You cannot consider any transaction unless either the payment is made or the product is given. If none of them is done, what type of mu'amala is this? For example, you say, 2 years later, you give me something and I pay you that. He says this is void, according to fuqaha. Of course, everyone should check their marja if it's relevant to you. Another thing is that sometimes a person has made a transaction. For example, you have purchased the house, but by taking something more or less or the same, you hand over to another person. You say, I don't want this house anymore. And before it comes to your control, you want to hand it over to someone else. So this is also discussed. Murabaha is when you take something more, and muwadha'a is when you take something less, and tawliya is when you just hand over. So it's one of the major books of fiqh because it deals with many types of businesses that people have. The next is Kitabur Rahn. Kitabur Rahn. Sometimes I owe you something, but I don't have money to give, for example. Or I'm supposed to give you money after some time. You ask me for something that you keep as a kind of guarantee with yourself. Okay, for example, I have some gold. I'm not giving you this gold for yourself, but I give it as a kind of guarantee that you can have peace of mind that I will bring I will give you money and take this from this. This is called Kitabur Rahn. Then there are many issues here to discuss. For example, the person who has been given this as Rahn cannot use it without permission of that person, or cannot sell it, for example. There are lots of discussions here. Another section is Kitabul Mufallas. In Arabic, we say Muflis and Mufallas. Muflis means someone who is bankrupt, technically. Mufallas means is recognized as bankrupt. So this is Mufallas. It means the one who is recognized as bankrupt. If someone has lots of debt and Hakim Shar means a faqih who is exercising wilayah, yeah, because we have issues in fiqh that everyone says it's up to mujtahid to settle. For example, if there is orphan and has no one to look after him, who has to take care of it? Faqih, jurist, hakim shar. Or if there are monies, properties, they have no owner, who should take care of it? Faqih. Okay? These are very basic and minimal powers of faqih that every faqih accepts. It's not about the idea of wilayat faqih into political. This much everyone has to accept. So, if someone is not able to give back the debts that he has, faqih, hakim shar may announce this person as mufallas, and therefore this person has no right to sell the remaining of what he has. They will try to use this to pay back to the people that he owes them. Because otherwise he may just sell this and run away, or maybe he doesn't do it, because now interests of those people have to be considered. Another thing is Kitabul Hajr. Hajr means mana, prohibition, to stop. There are people that technically they are owner, but in fiqh they are not given right to exercise their ownership. There is a limit, restriction put on their ownership. One was the mufallas, the one who is bankrupt. If there is a child who is not yet mature enough to decide for his property, and there is no guardian, the child cannot sell or buy anything, because people may deceive the child and interests of the child can be compromised. Or if there is a mad person, if there is someone who is not understanding properly, he has some money from his father, someone has to look after the money on behalf of this person. This is the role of the faqih. Or if there is a person who is ill and is going to die, in the same illness that leads to death, he cannot do wasiyah more than 1/3. Or even some people say cannot sell or buy in that time, because he's going to die very soon, and maybe he's not in a good condition, maybe he's under pressure. So there is a freeze, put on the transactions of this person. The next section is az-zaman. Zaman, in Farsi we say zamanat. Zaman means what? Means someone is, for example, borrowing money from someone else and says, Sheikh, he doesn't know me or doesn't trust me, says, you must become my zamin, like guarantor. According to Shia fiqh, if I accept to be zamin, it's not just guarantor. It means that now I have to give this person and later take from him. So now he is basically in touch with me. Whether that person gives or not, I have to give and then later take from that person. This is majority view, or maybe all. Anyway, for all these things, you just check your marja, because we are not talking about fatwa of maraja. We are talking about fiqh. There can be differences, but a major difference between Sunni and Shia in Kitab al-Zaman, Ayatollah Mutahari says, is this, that according to Shia, the person who would be responsible would be Zamin. And then he has to take from that person. This gives peace of mind to market, to people, that if I am Zamin, means I am responsible. I take it as my personal debt and I have to clear this. Don't worry. Whether that person gives or not, I will give it. Then we have Kitabu Sulh. This sulh is different from peace in contrast to war. That is discussed in Kitabul Jihad. This sulh means a kind of way, solution for financial conflicts, a kind of reconciliation. So two people have a case. This says, this person owes me this much. That person denies altogether, or says much less than that. There is no evidence, there is no proof, and they are in conflict. So sometimes we try to find a way that we can satisfy partially both parties. Of course, it's a very difficult thing, and you don't have right to pressurize them, but if they want themselves, that's another issue. So this is called sulh, Kitabu Sulh. Sometimes this also happens when someone has debt to marja, doesn't know, for example, how much homes he has to give, doesn't know the number, it's mixed. Again, they can do sulh. So with the wakil or the marja himself, they may do sulh. Kitabu Shirka. Shirka or Sharika means shared ownership, share. For example, sometimes someone dies and family inherit one house, one property. Now it is shirka. It used to belong to one person, but now they share. Sometimes share can happen without your will, like this case. Sometimes two people together buy something, or together start a business. Sometimes, for example, I have taken my harvest to mill. Another person also, then our wheat or barleys are mixed. We have become now sharik without wanting that. So there are different types of shared ownership that are discussed by fuqaha under this section of fiqh. Kitabul Mudharaba. Nowadays, this has become very important in Islamic banking. Kitabul Mudharaba. What is Mudharaba? Mudharaba means that someone gives the capital, someone works. For example, I have some experience, some contacts, some skills about trade, and you have money. We agree that we work together, you give the capital, I work, and then whatever profit we make, we divide, like 50%, for example, I don't know, 1/3, 2/3. But what is important, if there is any loss, it should be paid by the person who has capital, not the person who has worked, because he has already worked and has not made any money. Ayatollah Mutahari says this is different from capitalist system, because capitalist, the one who has capital never loses, only labor lose. Yeah, but here the one who has capital has to take risk. This person has taken risk, has worked 1 year, has not made any money, so you have to pay the loss. Plus, they cannot fix the amount. They can agree on percentage, but cannot say every month I give you this much back. Unfortunately, some people take money, say, okay, I take 10,000 pounds, every month I give you this much money. They don't call it interest, they call it, this is profit I am giving you. But mudaraba is fixed according to percentage, but you don't know it's going to bring anything. So what you have to do, you can pay something on the account, but later you have to calculate how much money is produced, if any, and then divide it according to the percentage that was agreed. So you cannot say, I give you this amount anyway. Then we have Kitabul Mudara'ah wal Musaqat. Very similar to Mudaraba, but Mudaraba is normally for trade and this type of work. Muzara'a is for agriculture. Musaqat is for gardening. For example, I have land, water. Someone says, I want to grow something here in your land. We make a deal that 50-50 or I don't know, 30-70. We make a deal. He works on my land and then we share the profit. Muzara'a is I have garden. Someone says, I come and give water to your trees, look after the garden, pick up the fruits, and when we sell it, we divide the profit. Kitabul Wadi'ah. Wadi'ah means to put something as amana, as trust. The one who accepts wadi'ah, amana, has certain responsibilities, cannot be careless. But if he does his reasonable responsibility, if God forbid this is lost or damaged, he has no responsibility to pay. Okay? You are traveling, you put, for example, your car in my garage or in my, I don't know, house. And then a thief comes. I was not responsible. It's not that, I left it open or, I was careless. No, it happens. I'm not responsible because I am Amin. You have trusted me and I have to just look after it, but I'm not responsible for it. If I have not done anything, negligence, we say, ifrat or tafrit, Yes.
So who determines the carelessness of the reasonable?
If they disagree, they go to judge. But from fiqh point of view, if there is no carelessness, it's fine. Kitabul Ariya. Ariya means to borrow. It's different. Wadi'a, I come and tell you, please look after my car, look after my money. I want to go for a journey. Aria is you tell me, can you give me your car for 2 days? Could you give me your laptop? Could you give me your wedding dress? Yeah. So this is aria. Means you borrow. What is the difference between aria and wadi'a in addition to the who is requesting? In aria, normally people use it also. Yeah? I leave my car in your home, but I may not give you permission to use it. If you want to use it, you have to ask for permission. But aria, I say, please give me your car for 2 days because I want to use it. So if you agree, means you agree to that I use it. Then kitabul ijara. Ijara means to hire, to rent. It can be one of the two. Sometimes there is something that we rent. For example, I rent my house. Okay? Or car. I have some equipments. So, I am mujir, means I am giving this to someone as rent, and the one who takes it is mustajir. But sometimes, maybe I am employed to work. I am ajir in the sense that I am employed. I am paid for my work. It's not a kind of object. It's a person that is selling his work. He's not selling himself, he's selling his work, few hours of his time. What is the difference between bay and ijara? It's very obvious. Bay, for example, we sell the house. But in ijara, we don't sell the house. In ijara, what we do? We sell the benefit of the house. Yeah? Therefore, fuqaha say that ijara is to keep the property but sell the manfa'ah. Yes? If I have a home and I rent it to you, I cannot then go and live there. I cannot take my guests there because I have rented to you. Unless in the contract it was mentioned that this much right I don't give to you. I keep it for myself. I want to keep this room for myself. But if I have given to someone something as rent, means I no longer own the benefit. I have given to someone else. This is different from aria. If I give something as aria, if I lend you something, still I can use it. For example, I give you my laptop for a week. But now I may need my laptop, and you see your laptop is here, you can start working with it. But your home, you cannot say because he's away, you can go and again live in that home. Kitabul Wikala. This is very common, and that is when you authorize someone to act as your agent, as your wakil. For example, for nikah, yeah, they give wikala to someone to act on behalf of groom or bride. This is called kitabul wikala. I want to sell something, I want to buy something. I can give wikala to someone to do it for me. Kitabul waqf was sadaqah, or wuquf was sadaqah. You know, waqf is very important in our tradition. It's one of the sadaqat jariyah that you own, for example, a garden, a building, a farm, you do it waqf, endowment. And this is permanent. It can be it can be khas. For example, you can say, I make it waqf for everyone to use. Or you can say, I make this dormitory for house students, for example. I make this waqf, this hall for people who want to get married. You can also make it a specific for certain people or certain purpose. It can be general. And also sadaqah. They discuss about sadaqah here. Kitabu sukna wal habs. What is the difference between sukna wal habs and waqf? Waqf is permanent. When I do waqf, it's no longer my money. Yes? I am still alive, but this is made waqf. Now it is for public or whatever has been specified in waqf. But sukna is that I have something and for a fixed period of time, I say this can be used, for example, by masjid. This can be used by madrasa for a few years. And after that, I can take it back. If it is a house, it is called sukna. If it is a money, something like that, it is called habs. But it is temporary. Kitabul hebat. Heba means to gift, to give as a gift. You know, it's very good to give some gifts. Gifting as such is not something which is not revocable. If I give you a gift, then I can take it back, except in two cases. If it is mu'abbada, hebatun mu'abbada. For example, I gifted you something, in return you gifted me something else. This is hebiyya mu'awwad. Okay? I didn't want to sell it to you. I said that this is a gift for you, and you say this is a gift for you. Now I cannot claim back my gift. Or if you have gifted to relatives, even if it was without return, you cannot claim it back. If you have given something to your brother, sister, father, mother, uncle, you cannot after some time say, I changed my mind and give it back. But if you have given to a stranger something, a friend, and you have not taken any gift in return, and it is still there, you can take it back if you change your mind. Okay? But if that person has used it or it's damaged and finished, you cannot say you have to pay the money for it. So I have given a car to someone to use. Then I see he may, kill some people. He's not careful in driving. If he's a stranger, not relative, I can say, give back my car. But if he has sold the car and or had already accident and is written off, I cannot say, give me back my car. Kitabu sabgh wa remaya. Islamically, gambling is not permitted, and betting is most of the time not permitted because it becomes like a gambling. But there are exceptions, and this is for the importance of defense. One is betting on the horse race, and one is for shooting arrows. Of course, it can be extended today maybe to other forms of defense methods. So, sabq means competition in race, like horse race, and ramaya means ramy, means to throw, to shoot arrow. So it's possible to bet on this. Kitabul Wasiyya. Wasiyya is will. Before you die, you can make your wasiyya, and it's very important to have wasiyya. And in your wasiyya, you can decide up to 1/3 of your money, not all of it. You cannot say, when I die, my children and wife or husband should not take anything, and everything should be given to this or that. If you want to do something like that, when you are alive, you have control. But when you die, you should not do that. The only thing is 1/3 of your money. You can do that. So when someone dies, first they clear debts. If he has debts, has to be cleared. Then 1/3 is possible. Okay, 1/3 I want to give for this charity. I want to, I don't know, give to this particular person. Not more than that. Wasiyya can be tamlikiyya, ahdiyya, fakkiyya. Tamlikiyya means that something from you will be given to someone else to own. Can be ahdiyya. For example, say, do few years prayer for me. Do some hajj for me, some ziyarah for me. Fakkiyya means if someone in the past had slaves, could say, I want to free my slaves. And finally, Kitabun Nikah. The last aqd here we discuss is Kitabun Nikah, which is about marriage. As you know, they talk about significance of nikah here. They talk about different types of nikah, conditions of nikah, rulings of nikah, rights of husband and wife, mutual rights that they have. And normally also they discuss about the rulings about glance, looking at strangers also in this section, and how to recite formula. All are discussed in Kitabun Nikah. So, alhamdulillah, we finished this section about uqud. Inshallah, we have to carry on with iqa'at and ahkam in the next session. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin.